Well, Brexit talks between the European Union and the UK to secure a trade deal look like they could miss a mid-November deadline. Both sides are involved in intensive negotiations in London over a future economic partnership. A deal needs to come in force before the post-Brexit transition period ends on the 31st of December. A no deal would see trade between the two default to WTO rules, and that would lead to tariff hikes, meaning higher costs for businesses and consumers. Well, from this, I'm joined by Tig Enright, who joins us from London. Well, good evening there to you, Tig. Now, Ireland's Foreign Minister Simon Coveney has commented on this, and he says, when pushed, he said he thought a trade deal would be possible and would ultimately be reached. But things are really going down to the wire, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right, Isabel. They are. But I must say, I'm not surprised, and many people aren't surprised that it's going down to the wire. The only time I can think of when a deal was done well in advance of a deadline was Theresa May's first version of the withdrawal agreement with Brussels, which took some of us by surprise with its readiness. And we all saw, of course, how well that worked out. And it's really felt like the same story for months now. The talks stuck on these just a handful, even less than a handful of issues. The rights of European fishermen in UK waters, so-called level playing field regulations. We saw that theatrical walkout by London a few weeks ago, only for them to walk back into the talks the week later. But the reality with all this, Isabel, is that each side is playing to their home crowd, demonstrating that they're pushing these talks right up to the edge to get the very best deal for their home team. Both sides, I think, and observers with a lot at stake, such as Ireland, continue to say that a deal can be done. Anyone, I think, with an instinct for how these things go would have predicted that it would have actually gone down to the wire in this way, frustrating as that might be. But Simon Coveney is saying that he thinks if a deal isn't done next week, that it's going to cause real problems. I have to say, I wouldn't be surprised if a deal is not done next week and we find a way of pushing this even further down to the wire.
Pushing things down to the wire, Tig, because another deadline, this time today, and that's on continuity trade deal agreements. Now, the opposition in the UK is calling the government incompetent because of its actions on these deals. Why is that?
Well, incompetent because they say London has had 4 years to work out these continuity trade deals. What we're talking about here are deals with countries outside of Europe with whom the UK traded based on trade deals between those countries and the EU. And the UK obviously has had to negotiate continuity deals to continue trading with them on those terms after the transition period ends. Now, many of these deals have been done. Deals have been done with Ukraine and Ivory Coast, for example, but many are still outstanding. 15, in fact, are outstanding, including some pretty big ones with the likes of Canada, with Turkey and with Singapore. Now, the reason that the opposition Labour Party is so upset about it is that UK law says that Parliament must have 21 sitting days to scrutinise and to ratify these trade deals before they come into effect. And in 21 days from today, the UK Parliament will break up for Christmas. So that deadline has been passed. This today should have been the last day. Now, the Department for International Trade, which is responsible for negotiating these deals, doesn't seem too worried about it. It says that there is a potential to make provisional agreements without the need for formal parliamentary scrutiny to come into place on January 1st and avoid any kind of cliff edge of World Trade Organization rules. But as Labour points out, these provisional agreements should only really be used in exceptional circumstances, and they've had 4 years to effectively just roll over these deals. And now what it means is Parliament won't have the opportunity to scrutinise them. That's certainly what Labour is not very happy about. Isabel?